a treasure in life, and if you settle for less, you'll pay a price too high. They can carry you through hard times or help shoulder your load, and that value is worth more than their weight in gold. Old time advice still holds true, so don't ever hesitate to put these words to use. Brush yourself off if you fall down into this world. Cinch your saddle tight and pull yourself back up. Do the best you can, don't give in or doubt. Ride your saddle tight and pull yourself back. It out. Decide where you're going and then follow it through. But even best made plans can come unraveled too. So expect the unexpected, hold on tight to the rope, 'cause life has twists and turns just like a rodeo. Old time advice still holds true, so don't ever hesitate to put these words to use. Brush yourself off if you fall down in the dust. Cinch your saddle tight and pull yourself back up. Do the best you can, don't give in or doubt. Ride, ride, ride it out. Cowboy wisdom is like fresh water in a well, glad it's there when you need it if you're on a long trail. Whoa, brush yourself off if you fall down in the dust. Cinch your saddle tight and pull yourself back up. Do the best you can, don't give in or doubt. Ride, ride, ride it out. Ride it out. Ride it
All right, welcome into episode number 11 of Live and Unscripted. I almost said Tuesday. That's not what this is anymore. We are live and unscripted with yours truly, Boston Chris. Episode number 11 already. Holy crap, we're moving right along in this series, y'all. And I am stoked to chat with an artist that was put on to me by my friend Ginny. And when Ginny Foley tells me about an artist that she's working with, I have to pay attention because she works with Randy C. Moore, and Randy is not only a friend of mine now, but also one of my favorite songwriters. So when Ginny has folks to chat with, I pay attention. So that is why we are talking with Mark Lynn Young tonight for the first time ever here on the show. And you were just listening to his brand new single called Ride It Out. He has a new record. He has lots of stuff to talk about. And so you guys don't want to sit here and just hear me talk. So we're going to get into it right away with Mark right now. Y'all hang out with us for episode 11. It's live and unscripted, and it starts right now. Mark Lynn Young, hello, man. How you doing, dude?
Excellent. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, I appreciate you doing this. I was just telling folks out there in my intro that anytime Ginny Foley tells me about an artist, I pay attention because I respect Ginny's opinion so freaking much. And so when she told me about you, I was like, dude, yeah, let's do something. And anytime Ginny speaks, I pay attention.
Yeah, we love her. She's a good one. I tell you, we get together and just have a good time with all the folks that she's brought into my life. Has just been wonderful. And I've known Ginny for many years, and a lot of my friends have known her for many years. So it's like old home week, you know, when we all get together around
I
here.
think the biggest thing about Ginny is she's a music fan, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
so many times I feel like in the business, and I work with a lot of folks behind the scenes and talking to get to talk to artists and stuff. And, you know, not to throw anybody under the bus, but there's a lot of folks out there that treat it like a business and have lost their love for the music.
Yeah.
And Ginny is not one of those people.
No, I remember her and her husband Marty. They used to come and see me and my friends. We used to perform over at the Opryland Hotel, and that's how I got to meet Jenny. Her and her husband Marty. They used to come over there and listen to us, and they've always been so supportive, just local music, you know, around Nashville and supporting artists and stuff like that. You know, it's just such a wonderful thing to see. And just here in the last year or two, we've gotten back in with her, just a relationship. And once you know, I started writing more songs and putting out my EP, and she's just been helping me tremendously, and she's such a wonderful lady to have in my life.
I got to tell you, one of the things about songs that is important, and I know you know this as a songwriter, is having a hook.
Yeah,
and sometimes the hook can be melodic, and sometimes the hook can be lyrical. Yeah. And man, your song "Ride It Out" is so dang earwormy.
Oh, thank you.
And it's melodic for me. It's not lyrical. It's the ooh, ooh. Like, man, you listen to that song one time, bro, and the rest of the day you've got that in your ear.
Well, I appreciate that.
My wife I got to know where that little piece came from.
Well, I don't know. My wife and I, Casey, we write songs together, and you know, speaking of the hook, you know, she comes up with a lot of the ideas of you know, that particular song and a lot of songs that we write together. And I don't know, I just felt like kind of doing like a little cattle call maybe in that song, you know, kind of like you're out on the range or something like that, you know.
It's unfair for the listener. Because it's very catchy, man. It's very catchy.
I appreciate it.
So by and large, you are what I call a Western artist, right? So there are country artists, and then there are Western artists. Used to be country and Western artists.
Yeah.
You're more or less a Western artist, right?
I joined a group called the IWMA's International Western Music Association, and they kind of categorize themselves more, I guess, in the Western genre, you know. Now, if you listen to my EP, I do have Casey and I. We wanted to do a legacy project, and we wanted to do a Western themed project, and that's where my first EP that I brought out. That's where that comes from. Is just kind of the influence of her growing up in Utah. I grew up in Southeast Missouri. We've always been around horses and Western culture. My father was a horseman. Casey's father and grandfather were both horsemen. Her grandfather owned ranches and wheat farms out in Utah, and so that's where a lot of that writing influence comes from. If you listen to my entire EP, a lot of that imagery and everything, that's where that comes from. Is her upbringing and then some of my upbringing in Missouri. You know, so I say, you know, Casey and I, we've been around Nashville for many, many years, like over 30 years. And we can pretty much write anything, but really our love is kind of the more of the Western style music.
Yeah, let's talk about the idea of a legacy album. I love when I hear that term, because a lot of fans out there don't really know what that means, right?
Well,
so explain what that means to folks.
For us, you know, when we pass on, we just want to leave our music, you know, for listeners, basically for us, you know. You know, we don't have children together, so the music is kind of our children. These songs are just something that, you know, we want it to leave on, you know, and something like in our music that represents us as songwriters, and hopefully, years from now that will outlive us, you know, these songs, and that's always the hope that we want. Yeah. We'll keep blessing people years and years from now.
Yeah, and anytime I hear the words legacy album, it typically means that it is a specific style, a specific genre, a
Mhm.
vibe, so to speak, that the artist and songwriter is going for.
Yeah.
I guess the question here for you, Mark, is when you're so pinpointed on a genre or style, a vibe, etc., on a legacy record, once that record is out and it's being, it's been produced, it's being consumed by fans and stuff like that, does that make it more difficult for you as a writer and an artist to shift to a different vibe, a different legacy, so to speak?
Uh, I'm not for sure. As far as like speaking for myself, of course, this is the first one, so I can kind of answer that, but kind of not right now. Maybe my second, third album in, I could possibly answer that better. But as far as right now, Casey and I, our plans are to write more different styles of music. Like we're wanting to put together a Christmas album.
Sure.
We're wanting to put together a gospel album.
See, those are transitions that I'm talking about, right? So those are different styles, different vibes than what you've already created. So you're living in that in-between time right now as a writer and as an artist where people have a certain idea of who and what you are as an artist based on the content you've released. So going forward, you have to kind of stretch that a little bit because these folks that are ride or die for you now are going to come along on the ride. But as you go, you're going to create new fans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's all about, cultivating what you've already built while also reaching people you haven't reached yet, right?
Yeah. Some of my huge influences as artists, that the people who I admire their writing are artists who do have the ability to reinvent themselves, I guess, in a way. Like Willie Nelson is one that comes to mind.
Sure.
He's Willie, but he can kind of do a lot of really cool different types of things,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I always admired in an artist. So we love to write, Casey and I, different types of music, and we have over the years. And who knows, what we will be sharing in the future. We'll just we decide that, kind of like what inspires us, So
I love that you're involving your wife in the discussion here as well, because I do have a question there that I'm kind of seeing the question as you discuss her. What was writing like before her as opposed to what it's like now, kind of co-writing with her?
Well, she could probably answer that question better than me because she's the one that introduced me into songwriting. I was a musician for many, many years.
So you weren't much of a writer before you and her got together then, and she was more of a writer.
As far as learning the craft, she's the one that kind of taught me that. When I moved to Nashville, I was primarily a drummer, just a sideman.
Interesting.
Playing for artists and everything. And always played a little bit of guitar growing up. Guitar was actually my first instrument, and then I later went into drums and did that more professionally. But far as like before, she wrote a lot with different writers and things like that. So we find like right now how we love writing is just writing together. Sometimes we'll co-write with different writers and stuff, but right now we really just enjoy writing just the two of us.
And, I like that.
And our entire EP that I have out, all 6 songs on there are just written by her and I.
So, and what's it look like for you guys as a relationship, right? Because there's different parts of your relationship now. You got your personal stuff as husband and wife, but you have a professional relationship too, as not just writers, but as co-creators of a brand, right? So do you guys keep those separate, or do they kind of mingle together?
Yeah, I mean, all that we talk about, no, and I don't say all that we talk about is like, but we do talk about music a lot, but we have other interests outside of music that we enjoy. One is just horses. We love. We've on our farm here outside of Nashville, we've rescued animals most of our lives together, and so we do have a lot of different interests that we enjoy outside of the music industry. So that becomes more our personal time. Whether it's like catching a movie or
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah, I think that's important to try to keep them separated too, because
Yeah.
look, we're married and we love each other, but
Yeah.
you're not always going to see eye to eye on everything personally or
Right.
professionally for that matter. So
Yeah.
you don't want to take one of those arguments in your personal relationship into a writing room. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I know exactly what you
Yeah.
mean. And we've been together 31 years. We met in 95. We
Wow.
married in 2002. So we've been through, ups and downs of anything a marriage can have,
Sure. Yeah.
And so we seem to know, I guess we figured out how to manage that pretty well.
Yeah, I imagine you have to. I imagine you have to. I mean, you talked about being a drummer and kind of being behind the band, so to speak, and then stepping out front. That's a different kind of confidence. It's a different kind of thing. Talk about the transition of going from Mark the drummer to Mark the brand leader and lead vocalist.
Yeah, I think anyone who's kind of done that transition might tell you it's a different world. Just those few feet, from the back of the stage to the front.
Yeah.
It is just a different mindset. That's what's interesting to me. With how like drumming for many years I backed up artists. Well, one artist in particular was from Texas, Johnny Rodriguez. He was a classic country artist from the 70s and 80s, and so. Yeah, it's I don't really know how to explain it, but it is a different mindset that you have to have, like memorizing songs for one and lyrics and keeping everything and keeping the crowd involved, where I was always more the guy that I worried more about, what was going on at the beginning of the song and ending of the song, not was in between the songs necessarily,
When you're back there, I have a feeling I know the answer to this question. I have interviewed to dozens of drummers over the years, so I guarantee I know the answer. But when you're back there and you're accompanying other artists and more well-known folks like Johnny Rod, are you envisioning? Are you daydreaming about being up front?
Not necessarily. That kind of just came, I guess, evolved over years and years. And like I say, meeting my wife, we just decided that, let's do something that we can do together. Because there were years that I was on the road and Casey, my wife, was just out. She was working her jobs here in Nashville and stuff. So it was like we were kind of both involved in music industry separately. We had things going on, but we was just decided, let's do a project together. I can sing. We can just write and just do our own thing. And then that's kind of where this all blossomed in me becoming an independent artist.
Well, I could tell you in my experience in talking to drummers over the years, they never daydream about being a front man.
Yeah.
Never, ever. It's very
That's
unusual.
Probably me too. I never really I want to do that someday. It's
usually when it happens and you go from a drummer to a front man, lead vocalist kind of thing, usually it's a level of confidence that's been instilled in you by a second person that helps kind of spruce up your own ego and your own self-validation to make that huge step. Because you're right, it's only 8 feet, but it is a world of difference between those two things, and the confidence level has to be at an all-time high in order to do something like that.
I remember years ago, I just had this thought. I remember years ago seeing Don Henley when he first stepped out as a solo artist. This was probably like in the early to mid 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there's a live video of him on stage where he's like one of the first times he's actually a front man. You can tell he's just not real comfortable about that. It's because even guys at that level, there's a different mindset.
Phil Collins is the same thing. Phil Collins is a superstar, but if you watch him be a front man, he's so not a front man. You can tell he's just he don't want to be there. Like, I don't know why he's there, but he don't want to. He'd prefer to be behind the cymbals, man. That's just the way it is.
At this point, that's where I the most natural thing for me to do is drumming, because I've done it for so many years.
Sure.
The artist thing it's new to me. I'm learning every day of different things about being an artist and how different it is,
So with the debut EP, which is called A Cowboy by Choice, which I love the name of it, by the way, great title to it.
Thank you.
Debut album EP, and man, you're killing it with recognition on this thing. You got 2 singles on the European Academy of Country Music chart, which I think is pretty dope when you're being seen and heard and consumed in a different culture, a different continent, different part of the world. Do you ever take a moment to take stock of things like that? Like, holy crap, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great, such a great feeling, you know, that we can share our music, we can get it out there to places in different parts of the world. You know, where years ago, I guess that probably a lot more difficult than it is now, but it's really cool when I hear it's like, yeah, you know, I heard your song, you know, and wherever in Italy or whatever, you know, and to think that, you know, at any given time or day or whatever, you know, someone may be hearing our music that we put together right here in this little studio, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's cool to think about. And I got to let folks know the record is getting a lot of recognition from an organization you talked about earlier, the International Western Music Association, which you've been invited to perform. You're nominated for several different categories for all of that. I know when the record was produced and written and all that, that was never on your mind to have this kind of recognition for it. But talk about the excitement as a producer, as a songwriter, especially when you're songwriting tandem with your wife. Like, this is your deal, this is your career. For something like this to happen for you and be able to have this experience.
Yeah, it's such a wonderful feeling. I know when we first, you know, joined the IWMA, you know, there are DJs, radio DJs that have shows that are connected with that, and it was such a pleasure to hear your song, that someone believes in your music enough that they'll play it on their show and talk about it. And that was a really exciting moment for us to hear that you know, that someone believes in it enough and they want to put it on their show and help it. You know, it's like yourself, you know, that it you know, it brings awareness to our music, you know, that people are willing to, and it's just a wonderful feeling to have that and to work at it and then finally get that recognition.
Well, I had to play the song as part of the show today, and now that means I'm going to be oohing all night. So
Sorry about that.
No, you're not. You're not sorry at all, man. It's Mark Lynn Young here on the show for the first time, guys. MarkLynnYoung.com is where you can follow along with everything this young man has going on. Just so dope to see the stuff that's happening for you. I love that Ginny is in your corner, because I know when she believes in someone, she's a bulldog, and
Yep.
she will make sure everybody within earshot hears about you. All right, so this is live and unscripted. I'm going to give you the opportunity to shape where the rest of the episode, or how the episode ends.
Okay.
So I have 7 segments that I have here. So I need you to pick a number between 1 and 7, and you are essentially choosing the end of the show.
Okay, let's do a number 3. Let's do a number 3.
I love it. Number 3 is called Impactful, and this is always my favorite one. So Tell us 3 people that impacted your life in some way. This does not have to be music related either, Mark. And then tell us the biggest thing you learned from each of those folks. Okay,
three people. Let's see. Well, my dad would be one. He kind of got me into music. He was a singer, and I guess every song I write, there's a little bit of him in there, you know, because just be growing up. He was a Vietnam veteran. He served in Vietnam in the Marine Corps, and he was a huge influence on just my life and my music and just everything that I guess that I see in myself. Sometimes I see him, you know. It's just like the song "Seeing My Father in Me." You just can't get away from that. And I'm so glad that he was such a big, huge part of my life and a respectable guy, you know. So that means so much to me, you know. So there's one. Number 2, I guess I'll go into music related. Would be probably. Merle Haggard would be one. He was a huge influence. My dad was a huge fan of him. So musically, he was someone that I always kind of looked up to as a songwriter. He was always being played around my house. You know, my dad with the records and all of that stuff. You know, I think I knew who Merle Haggard was before any artist, really.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you know. So. He was a huge influence on me musically. Probably number 3 would be my wife, Casey, who, you know, brought me into songwriting and has been a huge influence on my life and my my music career, just in general, just how she's just guided us together as a couple. She has, and yeah, so a big part of my life she has been.
I love that. I always love asking that question because I feel like obviously everybody's answer is going to be different, and then it's also really difficult to narrow it down to 3, right? Like, because we've all been, we're all impacted by people every single day. So trying to narrow it down to 3 people over the course of your life is damn near impossible. But I think because of that, it speaks volumes to those who you choose.
Yeah.
And I think the people that you're willing to choose to limit to 3 people deserve the flowers if you're willing to choose them. You know what I mean? It's I think it's an ingenious segment, and I'm glad you chose it. It's perfect. Where can people follow along with everything you got going on, Mark?
Just marklynyoung.com is my website. Mark Lynn Young Music on YouTube. I use a streaming service called Catapult. You can find me on many of the streaming services, whether it be Spotify, Apple Music, list on and on there. One great way to find me is find a search bar and just search Mark Lynn Young Music, and I'll pull up somewhere. You could probably guide through all the interwebs and find me somehow, you know, through all of that. So now I'm at the point where, you know, you can Google my name and then something will pull up on me. That's why Lynn is my full name, Mark Lynn Young. That's my birth name. And then when I started the artist thing, I was thinking, well, should I do Mark Young or should I throw the middle name in there? I'm glad I threw the middle name in because it does make it more rare.
Man, you should have went with Mark Lynn and then just done all Loretta songs.
Yeah, there we go. I know Loretta.
Man, dude, I would pay to see you do a version of The Pill. I'm just saying.
Hey, well, I've played it many times. I've never thought about singing it. Yeah. Mark, I like singing women's songs.
There you go. I do too, man. Dude, I do this thing called DoorDash karaoke whenever I'm out delivering DoorDash. Cool. And I do like Casey Musgraves and Taylor Swift. And like I'll throw in some monkey wrenches here and there. Man, fun. It's so cool to have Mark Lynn Young here. Open invite, dude. You're always welcome back anytime you have new stuff going on. Good luck at the awards. Enjoy yourself. Make sure you live it, man. Don't let it go by without enjoying it, because man, award shows come and go, and it's so hard to live them in the moment, you know. So breathe them in, dude. Take time to enjoy it. But thank you again, Mark. I appreciate you, man. And you have a good rest of your day. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Good luck, dude.
Yeah.
Where am I? All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to episode number 11 of Live and Unscripted with me, your host, Boston Chris. Mark Lynn Young. His newest single is called Ride It Out. The EP is called A Cowboy by Choice. Please look them up. I promise you won't be disappointed. Again, you heard the song earlier. It's very earwormy. The hook is well done. Ooh, ooh. It's there, and it's going to be there all day for me the rest of the day. Mark, thank you so much for coming on. Once again, marklynyoung.com. Follow along. Appreciate y'all. Episode 12 begins in 32 minutes with the Swansons. I believe they are a husband and wife singer-songwriter duo. Going to be my guests in 32 minutes. Y'all don't go anywhere. Appreciate y'all for tuning in for 11, but 12 begins in 32 minutes.